Guests had gathered inside a New Hampshire wedding venue as the ceremony was getting underway. Without warning, a large section of the wooden floor gave way beneath them. Nearly 70 people fell about 8 feet into the basement along with tables, chairs, and decorations. Other guests climbed down to help the injured while firefighters worked to pull the people from the wreckage. 6 people were taken to the hospital, and investigators later believed the building had been overloaded. The ceremony was supposed to bring two families together. The venue brought everyone together on the basement floor instead. A Wisconsin couple had just finished their ceremony and sat down for a post-wedding interview beneath a large tree. While the cameras rolled, a loud cracking sound interrupted the conversation. A massive tree limb crashed onto the exact picnic table where they had been sitting only seconds earlier. Video captured the couple jumping clear just before the branch smashed through the bench. The interview was supposed to preserve the memory forever. Instead, it recorded the part where nature almost ended it. A couple was holding their wedding aboard the Willamette Queen riverboat in Salem, Oregon, when the captain warned everyone to hold on. Seconds later, the boat struck the Center Street Bridge and threw guests across the deck. Video showed tables sliding, decorations falling, and people crashing into one another as the vessel scraped beneath the structure. The impact damaged the boat, but nobody suffered serious injuries, and the ceremony eventually continued. The couple wanted to begin married life on the water. The riverboat introduced them to the bridge first. A wedding party was traveling through Iowa, and smoke began pouring from the bus carrying them to the ceremony. Everyone escaped before flames spread through the vehicle and completely destroyed the passenger compartment. The photographer documented the bus burning down beside the road while firefighters worked around guests still dressed for the wedding. Another vehicle eventually collected the group, and they reached the ceremony after their transportation became a roadside fire scene. The couple hired a party bus for a memorable entrance. The bus completed the memorable portion before anybody reached the church. A man entered a wedding reception in Glendale, California and spent 90 minutes blending in with the couple's relatives. After watching the dance floor and waiting for the right moment, he grabbed a lockbox containing roughly $60,000 in cash and checks. Surveillance video showed him escaping through a side door into a waiting Mercedes. Police later arrested two suspects and reportedly recovered cash, checks, firearms, and narcotics during searches of their homes. The reception had an open bar. Apparently that wasn't generous enough. A couple was exchanging rings during an outdoor ceremony near Ivins, Utah when a loud rumble echoed through the canyon behind them. Guests looked up just as part of the mountainside broke loose and a massive rock slide came crashing down. The photographer kept recording while everyone watched the cloud of dust spread across the landscape only a short distance away. Nobody was injured, and the ceremony continued after the mountainside settled. Most weddings feature a dramatic backdrop. This one decided to become part of the ceremony. Guests were enjoying dinner at a wedding reception in Longwood, Florida, when people throughout the room suddenly began feeling ill. Some became dizzy, others started vomiting, and several guests were so concerned they called 911. Paramedics evaluated multiple attendees while deputies collected food from the reception to determine what had made everyone sick. Laboratory testing later found cannabis in several food items, and investigators accused the bride and the caterer of serving it without telling anyone. The guests thought they were waiting for dessert. Instead, they were waiting for toxicology results. A wedding reception had already ended when the disturbance outside a Newport, Rhode Island restaurant brought police to the scene. Officers attempted to separate several members of the wedding party, but the confrontation quickly turned physical. Body camera video showed punches being thrown, officers wrestling guests to the ground, and more people joining the struggle as the crowd spilled across the sidewalk. By the time it was over, 5 members of the wedding party had been arrested on charges including assault, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. The reception ended with a send-off. The after-party belonged to the police. A wedding reception was winding down when one guest decided to entertain the crowd by placing a lit sparkler in his mouth. Instead of impressing anyone, the firework exploded against his face, leaving him with burns to his lips, mouth, and cheeks. Most wedding guests wait for the cake before making bad decisions. He skipped straight to the fireworks. A couple spent nearly $15,000 on a 5-course vegan wedding dinner but didn't mention that in the invitations. During the reception, the bride noticed her brother and several cousins had disappeared. 20 minutes later, they returned carrying 20 large pizzas and announced they had brought real food for anyone who wanted it. Guests began taking pictures, the caterers were embarrassed, and the bride's mother-in-law posted the pizza had saved the wedding. The bride ended up crying. They spent $15,000 on a 5-course nice vegan meal. The pizza still became part of the conversation. An EF1 tornado tore directly through a popular wedding venue in Springtown, Texas, only days before multiple ceremonies were scheduled. The storm ripped apart buildings, scattered debris across the property, and forced the venue to close indefinitely. Couples suddenly found themselves without a location while guests were already making travel plans. Owners and families scrambled to find replacement venues before the wedding dates arrived. The calendar never changed, everything else did. A Mississippi bride was riding her motorcycle 1 week before her Halloween wedding when an SUV collided with her. The crash crushed her leg and left her hospitalized in critical condition. Doctors eventually performed a partial amputation, and the couple assumed the ceremony would be postponed indefinitely. Hospital employees helped arrange a chapel, decorations, a donated dress, and a wedding cake while she remained under medical care. The couple exchanged vows on their original date, and love lived on. A San Diego groom decided to exercise with his groomsmen several hours before his wedding ceremony. During the workout, a weight crushed his left thumb and shattered the bone into 8 pieces. Doctors warned that delaying surgery could cost him his thumb, leaving the groom to call his bride from the emergency room. A surgeon operated using local anesthesia while hospital employees worked to release him on time. He reached the ceremony with his hand heavily bandaged and married as planned. The groom began the morning lifting weights. By the afternoon, doctors were trying to keep all his fingers in the photographs. A North Carolina bride woke up on her wedding morning and realized she had gone into labor. The couple abandoned the planned ceremony and drove to a Greensboro hospital while contractions continued. Hospital employees helped secure an officiant and moved the wedding outside so the couple could exchange vows before the baby arrived. The bride stood through the ceremony while timing contractions between the words. She then returned inside and continued preparing for delivery. The bride wasn't the only person making an entrance that day. A wedding reception was underway in New Mexico when guests noticed a funnel cloud forming behind the venue. The tornado strengthened as winds reached 90 miles per hour, snapped power poles, and sent the wedding party searching for shelter. Before everyone moved inside, the photographer captured the bride and the groom standing together with the tornado filling the sky behind them. The storm passed without injuring anyone, and the reception eventually continued. The couple paid for professional wedding photographs. The tornado supplied a background nobody could have booked. A New Jersey bride was dancing during her reception when she suddenly became dizzy and collapsed in front of the guests. Friends with medical training rushed toward her while someone called an ambulance and the DJ stopped the music. Paramedics evaluated her and the reception remained frozen around the dance floor. The bride had eaten little, become overheated, and consumed alcohol before losing consciousness. She eventually recovered without hospitalization and returned to the celebration later that night. The DJ expected to announce the next dance. The paramedics arrived first. A pregnant New Hampshire bride was 2 days from her wedding when doctors diagnosed severe preeclampsia and said her baby had to be delivered immediately. Her son arrived 10 weeks early and was moved into intensive care while the bride remained hospitalized. With relatives and vendors already prepared, the groom continued with the ceremony while she attended through a video call from her room. Nurses styled her hair, decorated the room, and dressed the baby in a tiny suit. The couple planned on one life-changing event. Their son booked himself in first. A Texas bridesmaid was asked to help energize the dance floor during her best friend's reception. She and her husband attempted a familiar lift they had performed before, but he lost control and dropped her directly onto the floor. The impact broke her clavicle so badly that doctors said she was fortunate not to be paralyzed. She underwent emergency surgery the following morning and received a metal plate and 4 screws. The bride asked her to get the party started. She became the reason it stopped. A Tennessee couple had been married for only 19 days when the bride was seriously injured in a car crash. She survived, but the head trauma erased several weeks of memory, including the ceremony, reception, and the moment she married her husband. Photographs showed a celebration she could not remember attending. Her husband began saving money and asking local businesses to help recreate the wedding on their first anniversary so she could experience it again. The couple paid for one wedding. The accident left them needing a replacement memory. An Oklahoma bride was leaving a Dallas club with her bachelorette party when a stranger approached her from behind. He allegedly punched her unconscious before striking another family member who tried to intervene. The bride woke inside an ambulance with a broken nose, 3 broken teeth, facial wounds, and no memory of the attack. Her wedding was only 4 weeks away. The bachelorette party ended with 8 stitches and a dental reconstruction schedule.